Have you ever wondered just how secure the apps on your phone or computer are? It's a question that feels more relevant each day. As our lives become increasingly digital, our reliance on applications for everything from banking to socializing, from shopping to learning, grows exponentially. It's a digital revolution and it's right in our pockets. But with this dependence comes a growing threat. Cybersecurity risks are all around us, lurking unseen, waiting for a chance to strike. And they're more than just a nuisance. A single breach can lead to a cascade of problems: identity theft, financial loss, and a whole lot of stress. That's why app security is paramount. It's the shield that protects us from these cyber threats, the invisible barrier keeping our digital lives safe. But how often do we stop and consider the strength of that shield? If you hadn't thought about it before, it's high time you did, because app security matters. To understand app vulnerabilities, let's delve into a common issue: file inclusions. Often overlooked, file inclusions play a pivotal role in making our apps work as they should. They're the unsung heroes of app functionality, the backstage crew that keeps the show running smoothly. But just like every hero, they have their Achilles heel. So what is a file inclusion? Picture it as a courier service within your app, transporting data from one script to another. This allows different parts of the app to share information and work together, creating a cohesive user experience. It's like a well-oiled machine, with every cog and gear doing its part. But here's where things can get tricky. File inclusions can be manipulated to include files from external sources, and that's where our vulnerabilities come into play. Think of it as an unexpected package delivered by our courier, a package that can contain anything from harmless data to malicious code. Let's illustrate this with an example. Imagine you have an app that allows users to customize their interface. To do this, it includes files that contain the user's settings. Now, if a cyber miscreant finds a way to manipulate the file inclusion process, they might just be able to include a file of their own, filled with malicious code. Once this file is included and executed, it can create a backdoor, steal sensitive data, or even take control of the entire app. Quite a nightmare, isn't it? So, file inclusions, while necessary, can unfortunately open the door to potential threats. They're like a secret passageway in a castle, essential for the inhabitants but a potential entry point for invaders. As we move forward, we'll explore how these vulnerabilities can wreak havoc and, most importantly, how we can prevent them. Because understanding is the first step towards prevention. What makes file inclusion vulnerabilities a serious concern? Let's dig deeper. These vulnerabilities are akin to leaving your house's front door wide open, inviting anyone and everyone in. A hacker, upon finding a file inclusion vulnerability, gleefully steps inside, having been given the keys to your virtual kingdom. Firstly, file inclusion vulnerabilities can lead to unauthorized access. With this kind of access, cybercriminals can peruse your system with impunity. They can explore your files, tweak your settings, and even install malicious software. In essence, they can take control of your system and use it as their playground. Secondly, these vulnerabilities are a gateway for data theft. Personal details, financial information, sensitive documents, everything is up for grabs. Cybercriminals can steal this data and use it for a plethora of nefarious activities: identity theft, financial fraud, blackmail, the list goes on. Beyond data theft, file inclusion vulnerabilities can cause serious system damage. Hackers can modify your system in a way that disrupts its normal functioning or even render it completely unusable. Imagine waking up one day to find your app crashed, your website offline, or your server unresponsive. It's every developer's worst nightmare. Also, let's not forget about the potential legal implications. If your app's security is breached and your users' data compromised, you could face lawsuits, hefty fines, and a significant loss of trust from your users. In the worst-case scenario, these vulnerabilities can be exploited to launch attacks on other systems. Your app could unwittingly become a launchpad for a widespread cyber attack, causing a ripple effect of damage far beyond your own digital borders. To top it all off, the aftermath of a file inclusion vulnerability exploit can be costly. The expenses incurred in damage control, system restoration, and reputation rebuilding can be astronomical. Clearly, the dangers posed by file inclusion vulnerabilities are not to be underestimated. Now that we understand the risks, how can we protect our apps from file inclusion vulnerabilities? Well, the first line of defense is input validation. This is a process where an app checks if the data provided by a user meets certain criteria before processing it. For instance, an app might reject a file path input if it contains certain characters that are commonly used in file inclusion attacks, such as the double dot notation that signifies a directory traversal. By validating inputs, your app can reject potentially harmful data before it even has a chance to cause any damage. Next, we have the principle of least privilege. This is a security concept that recommends giving a user or process the minimum levels of access or privileges they need to complete their tasks. This limits the potential damage that can occur if a user or process is compromised. For instance, if your app needs to access certain files, it should have permissions to access only those files and nothing else. This way, even if an attacker manages to exploit a file inclusion vulnerability, their access will be limited. But what if an attacker bypasses these defenses? That's where regular security audits come in. These audits involve a thorough examination of your app to identify any potential vulnerabilities. You can conduct these audits manually, but there are also automated tools that can scan your code for common security issues. These tools can't replace a thorough manual audit, but they can certainly supplement it, helping you catch vulnerabilities that you might have missed. Finally, keep yourself updated on the latest security trends and vulnerabilities. Cybersecurity is a rapidly evolving field, and what was considered secure yesterday might not be secure today. By staying informed, you can anticipate potential threats and take steps to mitigate them before they can be exploited. Remember, in the world of app security, prevention is always better than cure. So, take these steps to protect your app from file inclusion vulnerabilities and ensure the security of your users' data.